Ryan, you've been doing this a lot, and we've had the pleasure of covering a lot of these from you, but I don't recall you ever talking to the fans like that. Are you trying to make a conscious effort to get them behind you? Where did that come from?
Oh no, they're just right here, supporting us, and it's good. We're different places all the time, and just kind of something off the cuff, and they looked like they were excited to be here. They take time out of their day to come and on a Thursday and come watch us and support us. So a little interaction is not bad.
You seem pretty excited right now going into this fight. I mean, what are the emotions leading up to this?
Yeah, for me, it's honestly I let go a lot of stuff as far as like the title shot stuff and all that. I went through it last summer with having a fight with Cormier. Him getting bumped up to fight Anthony Johnson, him winning the title. Then I didn't have a fight, and then I find out that Gustafsson has a shot, and I still didn't have a fight, and so that was a tough time for me. And then I got Rashad, and then it was better because once you have a fight, you're concentrated on that. Going forward, for me, it's just fun. For me, I've been kind of the underdog last couple fights, and I relish in that role. Same here. Nobody's really giving me a chance, and I love that. I love to go out there and prove people wrong, and prove myself, my family, my team right. And so for me, they ask if it's more pressure because there was talk of a title shot and all that. It's not. Every fight is pressure. Whether you have a loss, you don't want to lose again. Whether you're winning, you want to keep it going because that takes you out of title shot if you lose. So for me, it's just going out there and having fun and showing up and trying not to get caught up in the emotion of fight week and all that kind of stuff and having a good time and not making it a bigger deal than it is.
Is that title fight though constantly on your mind, getting that shot?
I mean, it's always on everybody's mind, but there was talk about it. My last fight and then this fight. You never guaranteed anything. There's too many variables out there. I can't control if guys are getting hurt, champions are getting hurt. If say the challenger or the champion gets hurt and it's prolonged another 6 months, then what happens? I sit and wait for them to fight, and then while I'm doing that, guys in my division are racking up wins over top opponents, and then all of a sudden they get thrown in, So for me, it's out of my mind. If I, go out there, do my job, what I can do, if it happens, that I get the next title shot, that's just icing on the cake. But I just take care of the job in front of me. That's all I worry about now.
Ryan, but you've had almost 20 fights in the UFC. You're always in the top echelon of the rankings. How is it that you've not had a title fight?
Yeah, I don't know, especially with this current streak. And, I see, different, people getting different shots. The one that got me was the Gustafsson one. I think even he was surprised, getting it off a knockout loss. So the way I look at it, win or lose, I can get a title shot, and how the 205-pound division's been going. So it's just one of those things that I just got to just do my job. And like I said, I forgot about a lot of stuff. I'm not worried about it because I would, go crazy and obsess about it, and what good does it do, So for me, it's just kind of like, who we fight now, what's the date? I'll do the same stuff I've been successful with. And then if I just keep beating everybody, hopefully, that's something where I get a title shot. If you look at it from any other sport, whether it be football, whether it be wrestling, where I came from, you have a bracket. If you're seeded number 4 and you go all the way through and beat those guys, and then you're next, And so it's just one of those things that's a little different now, but it is what it is. Like I said, I stopped thinking about it, going out there and just doing my job.
Do you think if you had the personality of Conor McGregor, or more importantly, the mouth of Conor McGregor, would you have had a title shot?
Yeah, no, probably. You look at Chael Sonnen, I think we have similar skill sets, and he wasn't a flashy dude out there high kicking people or anything like that, but he was great at self promotion and talking. For me, like Conor McGregor is great at what he does, and he backs it up. Those guys are great that come and do it in an original way. But now you see guys that have never talked before ever coming out and trying that stick and trying to be that mouthpiece and trying to elevate themselves. And everybody sees through that. I think the fans see through that. Everybody sees through that in other fighters. So you come off as fake and phony. And I'm going to be true to myself. I'm not fake. I'm not phony. If I'm doing anything, it's off emotion alone. In the past, you've seen that. Stipe, for example, I thought that was real. It was emotion after the fight. And he came out and just started yelling at everybody. It's just something that you can see it in his eyes. It came to him right then. So if I do anything, it's just going to be off the cuff right then and there. It's not going to be scripted. It's not going to be that. I'm going to stay true to myself and my family, my training team, and and it is what it is. So I won't stoop to that level of, I've never done it before. Now I'm not just going to start doing it. If guys have been doing it from the start, awesome. And look where it's gotten a lot of them. But you can see that fakeness in a lot of other people that try it halfway through.
So same old question. If you get a win this weekend, do you get the title shot?
I don't know. I would think so. I don't know who else. He's number 2 behind Jones Cormier. And so more than likely what they fight in April or so I've heard, and then go from there. But it's the same thing I go back to talking about is I wait for them. What happens if somebody gets hurt? What happens if it gets prolonged? Or even they do fight and he's out with a torn ACL. And then guys like Glover or somebody in there are fighting and staying active and beating 2 top guys while I'm sitting waiting, and then he gets a shot. So for me, it's just I can't control anything but Anthony Johnson or the fight in front of me. And so that's where my head's at. And it takes a lot of pressure off myself, and I just get to go in there and fight best when I'm having fun.
It seems like you've had a lot of decisions. Obviously, these last 5 have all been decisions.
Yep.
It's been a little while since you finished somebody, but does that sort of weigh into your mindset going into this? Like, you're on this big stage, you Fox TV, to put on a show that way to get a finish.
Yeah, I'm cognizant of I haven't had finishes lately, and I'm fighting the best guys in the world. Last 2 guys were top 5 guys: Phil Davis, Rashad, and former champion Rashad. And trust me, I want to go out there and knock people out and submit people. I'm just working with what I've got, honestly. And I'm trying my best, but I'm using my skill set to go out there. And right now, there's a time in my career where it'll go out there and say, all right, I'm not going to use what I'm best at with my wrestling and control. I'm going to just go out there and throw bombs and have fun. Maybe that comes off a couple losses and I'm not in that title hunt anymore. And it's like, all right, let's do it for the fans. Let's do it for the fun and the excitement of the sport. But I've been told and taught since I was 5 years old to go out there in wrestling and get the win at any cost. I go out there, I win 3-2, go out there or throw the guy and pin him in the first 30 seconds. It's the same damn thing. And so for me, winning is where it's at. Especially at this point, I'm right there on the cusp of a title shot where my whole career has come to, and my goals are to win the championship. Why would I go out there and just throw caution to the wind and stand and bang, as they say, and throw away what I'm best at and what I'm better than the other guy at, So there will come a time when, I might go out there and just sit there and trade and have fun, make it fun for the fans. But right now I'm right there, so I'm going to use my skill set, what I'm best at, to the best of my abilities, and go out there and try to win.
The 5-fight winning streak has been pretty one-sided. I'd say maybe the closest one was obviously the Phil Davis fight. The rest, very one-sided. Of those 5, which was the best Ryan Bader? Is there one performance out of all that you could say, like, that was the best of me? That's the one that you should go back and say, okay, I was on point that night. Is there one that sticks out?
Yeah, the Rashad one does. In the Phil Davis one, I didn't really feel like myself. Some fights you do, some fights you don't. We're fighting at 3 a.m. in Sweden. Right. Rashad fight, I went out there and I was aware, and I felt like I was bright, and I could see things, and the game has slowed down, where I'm not going in there kind of like what happened. I blacked out. I don't know. I just went off emotion and more survival. This one, I was out there. I could move. I could see things coming. Everything felt open. I didn't have tunnel vision. My mind was right. It all comes down to the stuff I've been talking about. It's not making a big deal about this stuff. And overthinking it. And so the Rashad fight, I felt like everything was coming together. Not only my technical abilities, but my mind, where I was like, I can go out there and beat anybody in the world right now. So I'm just going to go do it. Why not? Why not me? So that's kind of definitely the fight where I think it's just going to snowball from there.
In the last couple of years, you went from a guy that was like right around the top 10 to a legitimate contender right at the top. Do you think there was a point, there was a turning point for you mentally or physically, or do you think it's just been a gradual progression of who you are?
Yeah, I think right before the Glover fight, I felt pretty good as far as like getting better in my stand-up department and everything, and going back to what I said about things opening up a little bit and not kind of fighting on tunnel vision and adrenaline and whatnot. It became more of a, all right, this is why we train, because I can fall back. I've been in this position before. I know what works, what doesn't. And then, I made a mistake in that Glover fight. I wasn't patient enough and flat-footed kind of. And so after that, I worked on a few things, footwork and being patient and not getting out of position and just believe that I could beat anybody, and I can. Whereas before in some fights, I remember walking into Machida and Tito Ortiz fight, 2 losses that I had, being a wrestler and going, all right, I just punched this guy in the face. And you're trying to fight Machida like that? I didn't have a skill set. And I remember going out, all right, well, I'm just going to, I can't catch him, so I'm just going to run at him. And now I have feints, I know I have a jab, I have combos, I know what I'm doing out there finally. And I believe in myself. And I just said, hey, I'm not going to defeat myself before I go out there.
Is also part of that the mentality that you talked about of just winning instead of the Glover fight where you're like, oh, go get a knockout, and that's what the fans want, or that's what I want to do to impress people, and now you're like, hey, just go back to just winning the fights, and that's what matters.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it bites me sometimes, and trust me, like I said, I want to go out there, I want to knock people out, I want to finish them and all that, but I'm working with what I got, and I'm going in there and trying to do my best, like this fight with Anthony Johnson, he's going to come out and try to take my head off. Why would I sit there and throw right hands with him the whole time? So I'm going to try to use what I'm best at and put it all together. That doesn't mean I don't think I can strike with him because I can. I'm, like I said, I'm right there to where I need and want to be. And so I'm just having fun doing it. I'm going to go out there and try to get the win the best way I know how. And there may come a time where I say, all right, cool. I have 2 or 3 losses. Let's just go out there and have some fun and just be, and fight for a different purpose, basically.
Anthony was saying that everybody thinks the way to beat him is to wrestle him. Everybody thinks to take him down and not stand with him, and that Cormier tried and he was only able to take him down twice. Do you think he might maybe overestimates his ability to stop wrestlers?
Yeah, I do. And if you look back, he's fought Cormier, a good wrestler. He's fought Koscheck, a good wrestler, and they both got him and finished him. He's fought some other guys that have wrestling, but not to that caliber. And he'll take himself down a lot of times. Being throwing right hands and falling on the ground, and that's how Cormier got on him a few times. And so that whole thing, you're not going to go in there and just take somebody down. You got to set it up. You got to set it up with your hands. You got to set your takedowns up with your hands with your takedowns, and put it all together. And I believe that's what I've been getting very, very good at the last 4 or 5 fights. And so I look to exploit that for sure.
Kind of a unique spot that you're in because you just beat Rashad, and he, to some degree, is a mentor of Rumble Johnson. I know you were a little annoyed at some of the things he said. You proved him wrong in that fight in Houston. Did you think of that? Like, will you take added pleasure in beating the mentor and the understudy back to back?
No, I haven't really thought about that. It would be nice, but and just kind of have them go back there and be like, man, what's this guy doing? He's got us, whatever. But I'm respectful of all my opponents. Even Rashad, he was talking a little bit, but I'm sure it's all gamesmanship. And I've been around him prior to that fight and everything. He's been totally fine and cool. So it's really not. I don't go that deep to thinking about these different lines coming off of what's important is just our fight. And so for me, I'm looking at just go out there and fight this fight. Anthony Johnson's been respectful. I've been the same. We did a media tour together, and we were both fine. And it's all about competition. This one, going back to what I like, just going in there and just leaving it in the octagon, and that's it.
And I'm just curious, earlier this week, some bad news for a former Sun Devil, Cain Velasquez. He's been hit with injuries. Are you close with him at all? Like, did you reach out to him? And do you have any theory as to why he just continues to have bad luck and face these injuries? Anything from back in the day that you recall? Like, was he the kind of guy that would just have that kind of bad luck? Did he do things wrong training? Any take on that?
Yeah, we text time to time. We all got our families in different states, but he's still a good friend. Cain's always been a beast, and mentally, I think he's the toughest guy I've ever been around athlete-wise. In the wrestling room, you get a takedown on him, and then there was hell to pay after that. And I think he's so mentally strong and wants to work so hard that sometimes his body can't keep up. Especially, he's 240 pounds, and he trains like a 145 pounder, moves like a 145 pounder, for me, I just think his body can't keep up to his strong, mental fortitude. Just go in there and just train like an animal, fight time, the whole deal. So it's unfortunate because I think it takes away from his career, because I know he can go out there, get the title back, and reign for as long as he wants, really. But it sucks when something's holding you back and it's your main tool, your body, in a sport like this.